while we were doing that, we were doing a pop-up at our house that was very, very well received by the public during the pandemic. We would sell out every day in like a couple minutes at a time. It was very successful, so it gave us the courage to kind of do it on our own. So we built a small bakery for like nothing.
Everything came from auctions.
Yeah.
Our whole counter, all of our small wares, metro racks, sinks. It was very different to go from being in the kitchens where everything is state of the art to go to a strip mall, first of all.
But that strip mall did have something extremely nice, which was a huge parking lot. So, that is a huge thing for people. So they could all park there and walk up. Because there will be days, on the busiest days, we probably have 300 people waiting in line.
Welcome to Well Coached, the podcast where we talk about how people, sales, profit, and self come together to grow a business that actually works. I'm Chris Weinberg. I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs into their highest productivity zone by helping them get just corporate enough to lead with clarity, build with purpose, and scale with confidence. Let's dive in. Hey team, welcome back to the Well Coached podcast. We are in for a sweet treat, no pun intended today. My friends Alen Ramos and Carolyn Nugent are here, and I met these cool cats, 15, 16 years ago when we were working on Bottega Louie in Los Angeles together, and I just think the world of them. These guys are going to teach us and share so many lessons with us today. We talk a lot about spouses working together, entrepreneurial journey, transferable skill sets, surviving tough times, getting punched in the teeth and getting back up and knocking it out again, and then finding your place on top of the mountain. And these guys are unbelievable talents. I mean, they are artists to the nth degree. I respect so much of what they do. They are world renowned in what they do with their pastry programs, and have done it for others, for Michelin star places that are countless. Bouchon, folks at places that you'll just know, the Fat Duck, Pierre Hermé, just really top of the line places. And then not too long ago, these guys got the entrepreneurial bug and jumped off the pier and went and did their own thing, which I cannot wait for us to get into. In addition to that, they've built a solid marriage. They got a wonderful, wonderful child. They have come through health challenges together and just keep on getting up and swinging for the fences. And now it's paying off. And so I'm so excited to have them here. And then now they reside in Colorado and have the Poulette Bakeshop and nationally recognized James Beard recognition. I'm just so freaking proud of them. I'm so happy to be connected. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
That was really nice. Thank you.
Was that an okay intro?
Yeah.
This is going to be so good. At Well Coached, we focus on these four things of people, sales, profit, and self. We'll go through those lanes as typical. So let's just get folks warmed up to you a little about. So for, everyone here is hearing your story for the first time. Explain to us a little about the journey from elite fine dining places that you've been, and now you're owning your own spot in Colorado. Walk us through the history a little bit.
So Alen and I, neither of us started out as pastry chefs. We both started out in savory, but we both did kind of take the path of finer dining, and then we made the jump into the highest end dining experiences as possible. We met in Las Vegas, probably around
2004.
Mm-hmm.
End of 2004.
End of 2004. So probably around 20 years ago at Robuchon at the MGM Grand. Alen at the time was the chef boulanger, which his responsibilities were making all of the bread service, making special breakfast for Mr. Robuchon when he came, doing bread for 3-star Michelin, a huge bread chariot, and bread service for Atelier as well. And then I was the pastry sous chef there, mostly working on L'Atelier, doing very high volume, high end pastry service. So when we met, it was a little bit challenging because the chefs there did not like any people dating or hanging out outside of work. So But that just kind of fueled our fire for one another. And then in order to create a kind of a barrier for us, they sent me away to Switzerland to go work at a 3-star Michelin. And then
that is hilarious. That is hilarious.
Yeah. And then they sent Alen separately to France, to La Note, which was the best pastry education that you can have in Europe. And then when we got back, of course, we still wanted to be together, which was problematic for them. And so, but through that experience at Robuchon, Mr. Robuchon was and is such a highly respected name in our industry and in gastronomy as a whole. And that opened a lot of doors for the two of us together. We have never, actually, very rarely do we work separately. We've traveled Europe together. We've worked, we've staged, we've built programs. We started mostly focusing on fine dining restaurants, so kind of like a dinner service and bread service. And then when we met you, we made the leap into very high production, very high quality. Instead of going from those much smaller quantities, we took a very big leap, and then our volume of producing was massive. And that was a very, very difficult but integral learning curve for us to be successful.
We learned a lot because we work the same way on high volume with the same principle.
Along that way, when did you start thinking about, we might want to do this on our own one day?
I always knew it was possible. As soon as I met Alen, he's so talented, naturally gifted in bread making, especially in viennoiserie, anything with dough. And I think I told you, and before we went to Spain, I remember sitting in the parking lot of the MGM saying, we can do this. We need to do this in the future. And then, decades went by. And then we finally had the opportunity. Basically, the pandemic was the impetus for that, for us moving here.
Because you were in Chicago at the time, right? And then said, we're out of here. Mm-hmm. We're heading to Colorado.
Yeah.
So, Alen, you want to explain our journey here?
We were there, and then my dad was here, and he offered us a place to stay. So we came here. He basically said he bought land in Parker, where we live now, and he said you should open here. And my dad's like his job is to bring companies from the red to the black. So when he talks, you usually listen. So we came here and we looked around and said, okay, we can do this here. And he found us a couple of key people, an agent. The agent found us a bank. We leveraged a bank. We found a space. And while we were doing that, we were doing a pop-up at our house that was very, very well received by the public during the pandemic. We would sell out every day in like a couple minutes at a time. We're baking out of our house using the cottage law, and it was very successful. So it gave us the courage to kind of do it on our own. So we built a small bakery for like nothing, for like $96 a square foot. We took 100% of a loan to cover the cost. It was like a couple $100,000. And
everything came from auctions.
Yeah.
Our whole counter, all of our small wares, metro racks, sinks. I think we bought the bread oven. We brought our ovens and the walk-in cooler. I think everything else. In a sad way, it was because of the pandemic. A lot of places were closing, so a lot of these things needed a new home. So we would get a truck, and we found some great supportive friends here that would just drive down and come with us and go to auction sites, and we really. It was very different to go from being in the kitchens where everything is state of the art, everything is the best of the best. There is nothing to want because everything is provided, to go to a strip mall, first of all, in the middle of a suburban area.
There's some risk attached to that, because, will people travel to us?
Yeah.
But that strip mall did have something extremely nice, which was a huge parking lot. So
Right.
that is a huge thing for people.
Sure it is.
They could all park in the there and walk up. Because there will be days, on the busiest days, we probably had 300 people waiting in line.
Wow. I want to catch people up on the story here a little bit. I mean, you listen to all of the things we talk about here, team. First of all, if you're going to be in business, it is a lot easier if you've got a partner who is supportive of what you're up to. And these two, even when I knew them way back when, they have complete trust and admiration for each other, and they pull for each other every single day. And that is not easy. That is not easy. When couples work together, it is either the best thing in the world or the worst thing ever. Y'all have made it work. And then on your journey, we talk a lot about grit, and people don't fall on top of mountains. You have to climb them. And you just kept getting the reps in. You kept getting the reps in. And what I've admired about you two is that you've always been students of the game. You never quit learning, right? You never quit perfecting. You never quit learning. And then you both have enough grit to go bootstrap. Like to your point, Carolyn, you were in these super bougie places where you wanted for nothing, and now it's on your dime. Yeah. So you gotta find another way, and which you did. But the through line that I hear is that you have always believed in each other. You've always been a duo and a team, and it is easier to go with a partner than it is to go alone. And you have maintained that discipline, and it is paying off. And that is an amazing story. And so guys and gals out there, if you're going to go be an entrepreneur, you don't have to have your spouse do it with you, but you sure do want them to be supportive of you. And you guys have always had each other's back in a way that is sometimes rare. There are a lot of times during tough seasons, the other spouse will sabotage or sink it, or even if it's subconscious, talk one person out of doing the thing, and you guys just don't have that in you, which has been an amazing thing. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about y'all's dynamic a little bit. You have very different personalities.
Yes.
We're all about personalities here. We're big believers in the DISC profile, and we spend a lot on personality dynamics and how folks work together. Tell us a little bit about how you two work together, and from a personality standpoint, who brings what to the table?
Carolyn is like very regimented and creative and focused on our long-term goals. Like to and then I'm usually pretty like in the moment, focused on the short-term goals. So I try to make like I try to always organize the immediate things that need to happen no matter what, kind of slightly chipping away at the long-term goals to make sure that we can get there without spending too much money. And then Carolyn's always making sure that we do get to that long-term goal with our integrity intact, with our vision intact. And so because sometimes it's really hard to so we have the new shop that's very nice, and we have lots of equipment, and we have a lot of nice things. We have tile on the floor and things like that, which were like in the beginning in the first shop, we couldn't do. We just had polished concrete. We painted the epoxy ourselves, and
we did everything, Chris. We put the coving up. We painted. It was hard. It was very difficult.
And it's good stuff. Listen out there, everybody. People don't fall on top of mountains.
Yeah.
You got to go get it. And that's what you did. Yeah.
It was a huge learning
and then
curve.
So she would reluctantly want to do those things. I think we have we bought some stuff from a bakery that went out of business, and we have like this colander that's like, it's probably from the 30s, and it looks like it's from the 30s. We still use it because it works.
We love that thing.
Yeah.
It's like a relic.
Yeah. But, she was reluctant to want to be in this place, but she made it the best of it. And then she made great product in that setting, which then continued to allow me to raise more money, convince more banks to give us loans, convince a developer to let us sign a lease. Our financials have always been more like good more than not, because we are very like careful. Like we make sure that we don't have waste. We make sure that we're constantly pivoting. We would create every single day. If we did $100 less, it was like, okay, what are we doing tomorrow about this? Because when we started, we would do an average of like $800 a day. And we steadily grew that. It didn't go crazy overnight because we couldn't make enough food to even do it. So it was only 4 of us, and we would start with like $8,000 to $1,000 a day, 3 days a week. And then we grew that to $2,000 a day by the first year. And then we were sitting in that space between like, $3,000 and $5,000 a day with a small team of like 6 people. And we just like slowly, I rather have overtime than overhire. Then everyone would, make enough money to live well for the most part. And then we would, now we are in a different place so we can, staff up accordingly and then manage the revenue line differently. But we still kind of do the same thing. We have enough people for the product, just barely.
Yeah, well, you know what? That is a good business point, and that's something I want folks to hear out there, because that's a debate, right? Like, you hear so many folks overmanaging their P&L, going no overtime, no overtime. Well, listen, the way to do it is your perspective. Have your great people make a little bit more extra money, so you don't have to have an accidental ding dong screwing up your day. Yeah. And so your philosophy is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and then I'd rather them. And because most people want to work more than 40, people on our team want to work more than 40 hours. When you actually tell them that they can only work 40 hours, they feel sad. They want to be there 60 hours a week. We try not to do that. We really try to crawl those people back a lot and like, no, you need time off. But they want to be there so they can learn and they can grow and they can execute, because our job is a blue collar work for the most part. So you have to do it every day. Yeah. In order to be good at it. So we don't allow anyone to work for free, and we don't allow stages or anything like that. So they just have to get paid. And so we're always happy, and we're just really careful that we are focused. Okay, if you're on overtime, you're doing something that we sell. And that is, you're learning and we're selling.
Yeah, good philosophy. So another point there, guys. These guys are artists, and hopefully you'll go to their website and check out their beautiful art and follow them on socials, because they are artists. But Alen, to your point, there's blue collar behind that, right? There's just the grind and the blue collar and putting in the reps and using the 30-year-old relic or the 1930s relic, all of that to get to this result. And so you talked a little bit about how you guys complement each other. Carolyn's got her eye on the strategic future, what are long-term goals. You're more that day-to-day, see what's right in front of me, tactical, but crossing over each other for sure.
Yeah, we cross a lot.
Where do you naturally clash? Where do y'all clash?
Well, I think that, unfortunately,
the amount of time she wants to work and the amount of time I want to work.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say that Alen is we wouldn't have a business, we wouldn't have a beautiful new bakery if it hadn't been for Alen's diligence and ability to tackle the entire process, from, pinpointing financials to signing loans, taking meetings, finding our GC. I mean, I don't even know how much he's done. All I know is that I was able to contribute by saying, I like this, I want that.
Well, she also worked hard.
And then I also
made money
at that time.
Which then let me pay people.
But you just can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
I think Alen has taken, and it's I am not able to even do that. I can't sit still. I can't focus on a computer screen. I hate talking to people sometimes when it's things that don't interest me. And Alen has been able to dig in and do all of this. And it's so amazing to see this type of growth and this gift that he's provided for us. And selfishly, I get to go in and I get to, at this when he was managing all of this, I get to go in, I get to be with the team, I get to lead, I get to communicate, I get to create. And all of those things are like my sweet spot, and I would much rather be working all day and all night long than doing even 5 minutes of a call that doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
So I had to sit with the IRS for, I think last year, probably for 150 hours. But I got them to forgive a bunch of mistakes I made by just sitting on the phone and being nice to them and just keep asking them to help us.
Yeah.
And they did. And it's all relationships, right? Like for me, it's all these people that we have met through our career, and the people, trusting people like in a bank, trusting our agent, Lance, who's great. He always recommends people that are good. So we go with them. And we just build this network of individuals that are just good at what they do, and
we're good to them.
And we're good to them, yeah.
How about that? You're saying so much there. And listeners, I want you to keep hearing look at the support they have for each other. Sometimes couples accidentally will become competitive with each other. That is not the case here. They know their domains where they each excel, and they're able to cheer each other on. That is a monster leap forward. It doesn't mean you've got to have that to be successful in business, but it sure does make it a whole lot easier. And then you spoke to taking good advice from wise counsel. You're right. You don't need to go interview 10 different people. If your trusted counselor says that's the person, so building your tribe absolutely matters as well. Surround yourself with the great people. That's when you guys do disagree, which I'm sure rarely happens. How do you get through it? How do you work through disagreements?
They're not a lot of them, but when they are,
it's poor communication is what it kind of boils down to at times. And
it's holding each other accountable. We hold ourselves accountable to each other at a very high level. You told us, this phrase always comes back to us is, the good times are great and the bad times are crazy. The bad times are really bad and the good times are really good. But we always know that we are working towards a goal together. So while we may say things in the heat of the moment that are very hurtful and very aggressive and very demeaning sometimes, through 20 years, those have gotten a lot better and a lot of less. There's only like once in a while now, but we don't mean it most of the time, and we know we don't mean it. We're just trying to keep the other one engaged into what we mean, and then eventually we come together, but we always go to work.
Yeah. Well, you've had where the goalpost is. You guys have shared common vision, so that's.
And the disagreements are not even the real problem, right? The problem is that we're just tired. Yeah. We're just like, we need more sleep.
Yeah.
And things bubble over, and then it's like stress with they dropped a $30,000 oven on the floor, kind of deal.
Right.
And on top of having to work in production and having to talk to the IRS and having to talk to the bank, and you have to smile with all these people, and you have to be nice, and you have to be courteous. And, someone comes and says, hey, I made a $50,000 mistake. And you say, instead of getting upset, you should say, okay, well, what are we going to do about that? What do we need to do?
But if that happens and Alen is telling me about it and I can't be present to listen because I'm also exhausted and I have production to run and I'm not able to give him the support that he needs, that's kind of the spark, I think. Yeah. And then neither of us feel heard and validated for the day that we've had, the week, the years, the months. So over the years, over all of these years, we have learned so much about communicating, and it's never going to be probably pitch perfect,
but it's pretty good.
But it's
right.
And we've evolved, for sure.
And it's
for sure.
We know that we're working towards something amazing together at the end of the day, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And we just ask we ask the other one to participate in the areas that the other one doesn't want to necessarily participate. Like I ask her, can you do some clerical work, right? And then, she tells me if I can work on some tidiness, and those things in the moment, those things can be very difficult because we feel, you feel attacked, but you're not really being attacked. The other person's just asking for help.
Right.
So we have reduced the amount of time that it takes us to realize that.
Good.
Which is very good, because then that allows us to be like, okay. And then the more you do that, the more you understand, you can see that person coming when they're burning out. And it's very common, Carolyn has a vision of this grandeur, so she will work 12-hour days every single day for 9 months. And then she's had it and she wants a week off.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, just do it.
Yeah.
And we figure it out, and everything's fine. And then when she comes back from that week, she realizes that, okay, I didn't need to do all those things, and this things did happen. So then we hire people to do the stuff that she was doing. And then instead of
and then I bury myself again.
Yeah.
You find something else to go spend the time on.
Yeah. So basically, for the most part, this is the way we have grown. She makes all these things. I hire someone to train that person. I take it away from her, give it to that person, and then she's free. And then she builds a whole nother thing. And then we hire another person. We train that person, and we take that away from her. And then she builds all new things.
On to the next thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, which is I always tell her, and with our business manager, I always tell her, the more we can keep Carolyn free from day-to-day minutia, the more money we're always going to make, because the more creative she is, the more awesome things we're going to have to sell to keep people coming in.
Amen. And now you've worked yourself into a place of having some freedom to do that.
Yeah.
And look at what's happening. Hey team, are you looking to elevate your professional and personal life in the heart of Nashville? Well, since 1957, the Nashville City Club has been the city's premier private membership club, offering an exceptional experience in fine dining, networking, and memorable events. As a member, you'll enjoy top-tier networking opportunities, business development events, mentoring programs, social mixers, and signature holiday celebrations. The club's private dining room serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a professional yet relaxed environment featuring menus crafted by Nashville's top culinary professionals. Members enjoy personalized concierge services, including bookings for concerts, events, sports, and dining reservations. Additionally, the club offers discounted private event spaces for personal and professional gatherings, accommodating over 200 guests at a time. We are located at 200 South 2nd Avenue. The Nashville City Club provides a versatile environment that serves as both a home away from home and an extension of your office. The warmth of the staff, the energy of the city, and the pride of the community are felt instantly upon arriving. Join us for this thriving community of Nashville's most respected and accomplished citizens. Apply for membership today and experience the unparalleled benefits the Nashville City Club has to offer. For more information or to start your application, visit nashvillecity.com or email info@nashvillecity.com. You guys both came from, you both spent time in super demanding places. Now that you're the leaders, How has that shaped your leadership style? How has that past informed how you want to treat people now? And to that, what do younger chefs most misunderstand about business and excellence and all that stuff? So how has your past informed your leadership style? And then tell me a little bit about the types of people you have to lead with that younger generation.
Yeah, I can speak to that, I think. So coming up in the kitchens where we worked, it was so rigorous. And I would say in European kitchens, they maybe have a daily meeting, which is kind of sets the tone for the day. Here in the United States, that would be like what people used to call lineup or pre-shift now. Mm-hmm. That's critical, first of all. And we always we always
Carolyn
have a pre-shift. But in those kitchens, you were given, we walked into those kitchens on the very bottom of the totem pole. They didn't care where we came from. They didn't care who we had worked for or what we had done. At El Bulli, they did, because we were there because of our time at Robuchon. But you were given either verbal direction, go clean this, go find this, whatever in the walk-in, and, go take the de-skin, 50 kilos of hazelnuts, take the skin off by rubbing them on a grate for, 4 to 5 hours. I mean, it's a level of, it's like in Japan when you're somebody wants to learn how to be the chef in Japan. It's like they have to spend 10 years making the rice first. You have to crawl. You have to really crawl before you can get that level of respect. So I wouldn't say in those kitchens there was a lot of leadership moments to absorb. We were part of a machine.
Yeah.
And there's a great aspect to that, because that's how you learn the technicalities, which is great. So you go, you put your head down, you avoid the noise, you avoid any drama, you do your list, and then you shake out, you clean, you shake out, and then you come back the next day and the next day and the next day. And you don't complain and you don't make waves. You just are there to learn and leave. Things have obviously changed a lot. Even in the current events now, there's a lot of people speaking up about, injustices and horrible environments, toxic work environments. All of that is so believable, because sexism, racism, all of that exists in high pressure environments where people are not trained to properly manage their stress and manage their communication, their tone, their body language. All of that may be second nature to somebody, but if you don't think about, the effect that it can have on your team around you, then that's a problem.
Yeah, it's really easy to be mean. It's easy to take out your aggression.
Especially when you've been on the receiving end of that.
It's super easy. So we don't tolerate any of that whatsoever. Kindness above anything, no matter what. I don't care if the person made a mistake. And I always consistently, because we make mistakes all the time. And I always make it clear that we are there to support them when they make a mistake. And I make it clear that I make more mistakes than them. And the only reason that I know a lot is because I made all the mistakes already. So, and I just ask them calmly always, when there's an issue, I say, okay, cool, what happened? How do we prevent this from happening again? And that's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We'll go to the next time and we're going to try again. If we make the same mistake the next time, then I always reflect that as in my poor leadership, right? I'm not doing a good job training this person, or I'm not equipped. I'm not treating this person how they need to be treated, how they need to be organized, kind of deal, like, right? And that's one big lesson that I learned from my dad was you have to treat A employees like A's, B's like B's, and C's like C's, and always try to get the C's towards the A path, but understand where they are and ask the right things of them. Right? Don't ask a person that does not have the capacity to do something to do it and then leave them by themselves and force them to figure it out. So it's a very supportive environment, and we only tolerate the we philosophy. We do not allow people to say, well, I know how to do that, or, that's not my job, or, this so-and-so is doing that, not me. So, well, you have been here for 5 years. That person's been here for 6 months. We trained you. It took us 5 years to get you here. We want you to really speak up and help that person get there. We will help them too, but we want to help you above all, consistently. You help that person, and it creates a hierarchy, a sense of hierarchy that could only be maintained if we are not touching the new employee as much.
That's great.
So then there's a level of respect that crawls through the business that then all the new hires will look up to our team that's been there for a very long time, because most of our team's been there for 5 years. And then it creates this sense of ownership that is very special. And that culture of that we try to have people like really have ownership of what they do every day, because we trust them and we want them to feel comfortable making decisions.
You're speaking a lot about, we coined those terms, situational leadership, and you spoke to kind of meeting people where they are. I love the pre-shift idea, which is somewhat consistent in the restaurant world that other industries should certainly be using, because that's your chance to show what good performance looks like. Here's the expectation for the day. Here's what victory looks like, which is a wonderful. And then I love the part about treating people differently based on where they are in their journey. And I would assume that you do that based on their demonstrated competence and their demonstrated confidence, right? It is not a one size fits all.
Yeah. Right. So like an example, so I went to work, I think it was yesterday. So and things are slightly falling apart. There's some issues, and we are met. I am the complaint department. So the minute I walk in, there's all that. Yeah, it's like, this is wrong. This was not done. We had this problem. And I'm like, okay, cool. I absorb all that. And then I slowly start working through the list. And then I start to slowly make that individual realize where they are, what they could be doing to mitigate those issues. And
how to be solutions oriented.
Yes, how to, I know you're, and usually I say, I think you're stressed. When you take a minute, go get a drink, I'll work your station for 10 minutes. You come back and let's just do a good job. Let's just do the best we can with where we are. And let's just set ourselves up for tomorrow for none of this stuff to happen.
Yeah.
And if it happens, then we'll try again. And if we need to, if we can't solve it, we need to take certain things off the menu. We need to streamline the process until everyone is in a good place. And then we start pushing again.
Great. So it sounds to me like we run a disciplined shop, but we do it with empathy. And so many times people confuse the word discipline with being an ass. And discipline's not the killer of enthusiasm. You can still be disciplined and still have empathy at the same time. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about sales. You guys, you went out to Colorado, you're out there in Parker, and now you go and you start creating these things that most of those people don't even know what they're looking at, I would guess. I mean, Alen and Carolyn team, they are creating things that are on a world-class level that are not easy to find. And I'm wondering, when you first got there, or even today, how do you educate customers, or even do you have to, on what you're doing without sounding elitist?
But it's actually really, she can talk to her in a second about it, but it's really unique in the sense of we built this unique trust that people just, they will just try it. And it's really interesting that our guests have this trust in us that it's going to be good, even if they don't know what it is. And then it becomes their thing. And you take it off, and then they're like, where did that go? Like, I just had someone the other day. It's like, where is this thing? You haven't made it for 3 months. And I'm like, okay, we'll make it tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say going in, we really kind of crafted the menu as like a community-led menu. So if somebody, at first we did a lot of American-style pastries, and then we would kind of sprinkle in some really classic, lovely French pastries, and then over time we realized that people were gravitating towards more of this European vibe.
Yeah.
And so then we,
they wanted the fancy things.
Okay.
Yeah, so we changed
cool.
it up.
It was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, we'll make it.
So a funny story, when we first opened, so very traditional French pastry it's like a hazelnut and cream shoe pastry. It's in the shape of a wheel, and it was made after
that's so good.
a bicycle race from Paris, France to Brest, and then back again.
Wow.
And very traditional. It looks like a donut with a bunch of cream inside, but the name of the dessert is Paris Brest. And so we would have all of these because Brest is a geographical location in France. But many of these guests would come in and they would order all these things. And then at the end, and we were working the case at the time. So, we had to do everything. So they would say, can I get one of those Paris breasts? And so it took some time, and we could tell, there's a level of discomfort in not knowing what something is. So we decided to kind of meet in the middle. So Parker is an equestrian place. There's lots of horse riding and horsing around. And so we made something called the Paris Parker instead. Same flavor profile, beautiful hazelnut praline, soft cream, but we piped it in the shape of a horseshoe instead of in the bicycle wheel. So it's kind of a tribute to where we live in Colorado.
Yeah.
No one has to say the B word if they don't want to. And it's still the same flavor profile, the same tradition, just like a little bit of nuance to make it our own.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's that market adaptability, right?
Yeah.
Bringing all of us dummies along.
And now
that's a great response to the elitist question. That's a great response to that.
You have to be flexible, and I learned over the years, especially with Alen has coached me on so many things, but you have to make 80% of things that people want to buy, and then the other 20% can be you just going off-roading and digging in deep on what you want to do. But just because you have this palette and this idea and this vision, it doesn't mean it's going to be a winner. It means that you have to make sure that you cover the day and then you run specials. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
My first mentor in the business taught me feed the masses, live with the classes.
Yeah. That's great.
Very similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to satisfy a bunch of people and then you can go play.
Yeah, and then you build the trust, right? And then those specials become part of the core menu.
They come along with you.
Yeah, our guests are very adventurous, and they really they support us. We switch the menu consistently, and it sells quicker, and they're excited. They are looking forward to it. What is the new flavor this week? What are you doing that's new? Are you gonna do something special this day? And I have a lot of guests that have my number and my email, and they send me a text.
Not recommended out there in TV land.
It's not. But I always Yvonne just came in yesterday, and Yvonne used to come to the original bakery when we used to do $1,000 a day, and she would buy $500 worth of stuff.
Wow.
So I will never forget that, right? And I always remind my front of the house manager and everyone that works in the front, if these people come, we do whatever it is because we are here today because of them. Because
you had it sounds like you had very early brand ambassadors.
Yes.
Which is
definitely
amazing.
They wanted us to be in Parker, and they didn't want us to leave. And I would pay attention because they would come close to closing, and they would just buy everything we had left. So they were buying that specifically to support us.
Wow.
To stay in the neighborhood, no matter what. And then, they would get their perks because they could just call and say, hey, I need this for this day. I need this for that day. But, they're not asking for a discount. They're not asking for a special anything. They're just saying, I have this event. I need a couple things. Can you take care of me? Absolutely.
Amazing.
But they never, and they never ask for anything like, discount or this or that or free things. They wanted us to be in the neighborhood.
Lots of people pulling for you.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you think? Do you think what customers value today is any different than it was 10 years ago? Or is it the same? Or are customers evolving? Or is anything different between a decade ago and now in terms of what customers see or want or know?
I think, it's always perception of value, of course, right? But times have changed. And unfortunately, shrinkflation is a thing that happens everywhere, not with us. But that's become...
to make baked pastries.
People are so highly, acutely aware of value and perception that it's... One of the challenges we had is kind of explaining, our pricing, our cost of goods. When they see, a butter croissant, and here in the suburbs, there's not a lot of small, independent, kind of higher end places that are crafting, baked goods, for instance. And what makes this, $4.50 croissant have more value than the 8-pack that I can get at Costco for $12.
Right.
And that's been something that is in our DNA. We've never thought about it. We've never had to explain it just because of the places where we've worked. It's just what you do. It's what you work with. It's the ingredients that you have. But here, it takes time to build that trust and have somebody say, I'm going to spend this amount of money on something that is made by a small business. That's a big thing. It's made by trained professionals. It's made by hand, and then eventually, they start to taste the difference between Valrhona chocolate and Hershey's chocolate, for instance, or Toll House. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it becomes a small indulgence that has more personal value to them than, the thought of a financial burden. They can. You're training them to buy on an outcome versus on a price, and that's amazing. Yeah, and you don't win everybody over. Yeah, absolutely
and
not.
And we have 100% confidence. You didn't like something, no problem. Here's your ticket. And I go out of my way, so I look through reviews here and there, and I find somebody that says, "Hey, price was too much," or this, and this, and I usually I'll find their name on the review. I'll reference it against our database, and if I find them, I will refund their ticket, and then we'll just comment, "Hey, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. We refunded you. I'll send you a gift card to your email. The next one is on me.
We'd love to see you.
When you come, ask for us. I'll walk you through. I'll see what your preferences are. Is there something that you like? Let me know. And if I can make something like that, I will." Like there's a couple things on our menu that are from guests that they're like, "Oh, I used to have this as a kid." And I make it. I think we had an Irish guest they love soda bread, and no one else on my team wanted to make that, including.
Wow.
And then she brought me a recipe and said, "This is my grandma's soda bread," and I would just make it for her, and those people became vested with us. We were part of their lives, and a lot of our guests were part of their lives. We know all their names.
They come in when they're, and tell us, "Oh, we're going to have a baby." And then, they're growing, and then we don't see them for 2 months. And then they come in with the car seat. And then 8 months later, can you make the first birthday cake? And then 3 years later, can you make the fourth cake? And it's incredible. The community, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That is, I love, Alen, that you're combing the folks that maybe didn't have the best experience on the first round, and you're creating raving fans about what you're doing. The recovery is, that becomes your most loyal customer ever.
Yes, if we can turn them, then they're with us for life, because they know that they're going to be safe. Even if they come and they don't have a good experience, they know it's going to be okay, because we will take care of them, and then they will have a good experience after that again. because you can't win them all. You do have bad days. You do make mistakes. And it's how you handle that and how you create that trust in the guest.
Yeah.
And for them to feel seen and heard. We are very cautious to make sure that, if someone says they didn't like it, we are very careful to not tell them, well, it's not for you. We are making sure that we hear them, we let them know, we acknowledge them, and then we take care of them.
Amazing. I mean, somewhere in our time together, you've probably heard me mention the book Raving Fans. I don't know if we worked through that together at Bottega Louis or not, but those three principles: decide what you want. You guys have clearly done that. Decide what the customer wants. You are listening to them, and then deliver +1. And you're doing that through your communication pattern and through your competence level of what you do. It's a very disciplined approach, and I'm super proud of you for that. Hey team, are you looking to elevate your golf game year-round? Nashville City Golf, located within the Nashville City Club at 200 2nd Avenue South, offers a premier indoor golfing experience right in the heart of downtown. With over 350 real-world courses available on state-of-the-art TrackMan.io simulators, you can challenge yourself on some of the world's most renowned fairways without leaving the city. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting out, our facility caters to all skill levels. Features of the club include TrackMan.io performance tracking, an adjustable swing stage, indoor putting, and great upscale lounge and food and beverage, as well as PGA instruction right on site. Nashville City Golf isn't just about swinging a club, it's about experiencing a revolution in golf practice and entertainment. Our cutting-edge features elevate your game and create an unforgettable experience. We offer flexible membership options to suit your needs, as well as booking for individual sessions. Ready to tee off? Visit NashvilleCityGolf.com to learn more about memberships, book a session, or schedule a lesson with one of our PGA instructors. Elevate your game at Nashville City Golf, where the best of golf meets the best of Nashville. Let's talk about profit for a second, because at the end of the day, you two are artists. You didn't wake up and going, let's go watch every single penny that we do. What are some lessons that you may have learned about cash flow that chefs typically don't have to deal with because they're working for someone?
Things cost money.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money. When we used to work in the back of the house, I used to always we would complain about, you spend $800,000 in the front and only $200,000 in the back. And, we built our own place and it cost us $800 in the front and $200 in the back.
That's right.
So it is what it is. Right. It's expensive to have a place. You have to spend the money. You have to, and one of the biggest lessons that I learned is I don't nickel and dime anyone. When there's something to be paid, I pay right away. And I don't, when I get a quote, I take it and I say, okay, let's do this. Let's do it right. It's expensive, but it's going to be good. Right. And then they say yes. And then in the back end, with our GC currently, when, he makes sure that he's giving me the best quotes. And when he can find a place to reimburse me, I'm not chasing him. He's reimbursing me he's just saying, hey, I'm going to take this off because it's unnecessary. And that's something that I learned when you nickel and dime people is it bites you later, right? Because they're overstretching themselves. And then eventually they'll have to make that up. And then they don't want to work with you later also.
Correct.
And when you pay people right away, quickly, consistently, you don't stretch out paying your vendors 60, 70 days until they tell you, hey, I'm gonna put your account on hold. Then those vendors are always very proactive to make sure they keep you as a customer. Right. So we have everything on auto pay. We order what we need. We make sure we don't have waste, and then our vendors are making sure that we have the best price. Because I will release all the prices from every vendor to each other and say, hey, who wants a business, and they say, we'll take it. Here's this amount, and they know they keep our prices consistently, because the minute they change, I let them know, hey, this is not okay. And then they say, okay, I'm sorry, we'll get you on the back end. And, they save us money in the long run because of that.
Are you doing your financials in-house, or do you have a bookkeeper, or are you doing all that, or somebody doing it for you?
I was up until last year. And then now I have an accountant who does majority of the processing, but I review it. And then we have some very crude methods to review it. And I basically, if it's not broken, I don't look at it. And we take the invoices for the week, we take the revenue for the week. And if we're like in that target percentage of like 20 to 25, we let it be.
We move on.
Yeah. And if we have if it's like in the 30s, we say, okay, why? We look at the invoices. If we have stuff that's in the freezer, we look at the dry storage. Did we order a lot of chocolate? We can justify that increase, then we let it go. If we can't justify the increase, then we'll start digging.
Okay.
But yet today, 8 years later, we still haven't had to.
Amazing.
Because we're just very disciplined in that sense. And we know that it only takes a couple of bad months or a couple of undisciplined months to kind of break down. So we do that every week. It takes 10 minutes. And we only address the things that need to be addressed. Right? If labor is, 32, 34, 35, we ask why. Okay, we need to hire. That's a real problem. We do it. If it's, and then also we ask why. Did we ask for that to happen, right? Did we ask to generate more product that didn't sell, or did we sell it at the wrong price? So then we back those things back. But then, sometimes we have, and then we do it the other way too. If labor is 26, 27, we start asking, why is it so low? We need to hire more people. Also,
produce more food.
Because
that's a very good point. So many businesses get focused on cut. But if you have a budget and your budget is set to perfection of how your business runs, and you're under budget, that's a signal. That's as big as a signal as being over budget. So I'm glad you brought that up, because so many young managers are taught the opposite. Cut. And now the experience goes to hell in a handbasket. And so I'm glad you brought that up.
Do you have enough time to really take care of the guests? Are we overcharging the guests? Are we things like that? The other spectrum that will also diminish the experience of our patrons. And we always just want to be fair. We want people to experience something special, pay what it costs us to make it, and a little bit of profit. Because our target profit is between 5 cents to 15 cents on a dollar, and 15 cents on a dollar is amazing. 3 cents on a dollar is the minimum, and we always just kind of stay there. We try to, in order to make sure it's good for everybody, and we're not gouging anyone, and we're also not getting taken advantage of.
That's right. You should be allowed to make a fair profit, and you sounds like you're paying enough attention to those numbers. Drudgery of the numbers will set you free, right? So you're staring at them and adjusting as needed. We talked a little bit about people, sales, and profit. Let's talk about the health, the journey of the self a little bit, because Carolyn, you've had to walk through some challenging times,
I did.
and have just kicked ass through all of that. And so while building a business, raising a family, did your experience change your relationship? Yeah, I'm talking about your cancer journey. How, or if it did that change your relationship with work and life in general? Or did you see that as just go kick ass and keep moving? How did you work your way through all of that?
Yeah. So I had a second diagnosis as well in 2013 after all of us kind of split apart from LA. So we moved to San Francisco, and then I had a second diagnosis. And then that was, if the first one wasn't a sign, this one was truly like, okay, like it's time to make a decision. It's time to figure out, because, you know, the only thing that anybody could kind of pinpoint, and I'm a pretty black and white person, but there wasn't a black and white reason for having 2 cancer diagnoses, except for environmental, which is stress.
Okay.
So I thrive in stress. I thrive with being solutions oriented. I love adrenaline. I have high cortisol. It's how I perform my best is when I'm with a high functioning group of people with a vision and a goal, or a set of goals, in a difficult, demanding environment. And then we push together and we succeed. That is like my favorite place to be. Is it the healthiest? No, absolutely not. So when we were in San Francisco, we were working at a 3-star Michelin restaurant. I got my second cancer diagnosis, and Alen and I, you know, it was so traumatic for us to go through this again. And then this was even more surgeries, more healing. Physically, it was difficult, but for me, mentally, when you feel like you're fine, you feel like, okay, I can go back to work, I can function. I'm not going to be the weakest link on the team. I'm not going to be the slacker. I'm not going to be sitting around. And your body physically is like, you cannot do this. And your doctors are saying, you cannot do this.
And I'm saying that.
And Alen is saying it. You cannot be doing this. You can't be lifting. You can't be on your feet all day. This pressure, this stress. So we decided at that time that it was time to say goodbye to fine dining. And that was for good for us. So at that point, we moved back to LA. We were going to open a large bakery, but that kind of fell through. And then we decided to kind of use our experience more and do a lot of consulting instead of a lot of that day-to-day grind, and still get to be solutions oriented, still get to archive and create and help other people in our industry. I went to the I went to the French pastry school, and I was a chef instructor there, which was great.
Okay.
I really dug in with a team of interns that I was lucky enough to be able to manage. I've loved that whole entire aspect of managing a team. And I realized that, you know, what is the best way to get the results that you need? And I would love to go in more depth with you about the things that I think are important to communicate to teams if we have time to do that. But then, you know, we moved here and we started our bakery. And I think that I'm currently, I don't have the stress of somebody managing me. Alen and I are equals. We hold each other accountable. That stress is gone. But I, like Alen said, I tend to replace stress with stress and work with work because that's what I enjoy doing the most. But we've definitely, you know, striving to find that work-life balance. You know, we have our son who's almost 11, and he has just been such a gift. We have a home. We're not moving every 2 years to a new city for a new restaurant. It's been a real evolution of,
this is the longest we ever lived in one place.
Yeah. And it's been
Congratulations.
6 years, yeah.
No, it's a lot longer.
So, I mean, I would say that kind of nomadic lifestyle has changed a lot. The stress of moving, the stress of, you know, being managed, being micromanaged. I need this at the last minute. I need that at the last minute. That is very stressful in a high-end environment. And now we are the captains of our own ship, and that's given us a lot of peace, I would say.
Amazing.
And we share that with the team. And you know, I actually heard this. I don't know. It's a couple of days ago. It was really interesting. It was about when you're in the driver's seat, you know where you're going, right? Your passenger feels every acceleration, every turn, every brake. You know it's coming. You're doing it, so you're good. But that person's like, oh my god, you know, hey car.
That's why I always drive. I cannot be a passenger. I can't do it. I cannot do it. That is a great analogy. Yeah. That's a great analogy.
So,
because I was trying to think through that too, Carolyn. I mean, you're a highly driven person. That's never going to change. But now you're in charge of the amount of stress that you put on yourself.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah. So much more gratifying to achieve and to meet your own goals than to meet somebody else's goals.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. And that's, we talk about that here a lot. We're big believers in entrepreneurship, and guys and gals, everybody's got a gift. And if you've got any inkling of jumping off the pier and doing it for yourself, go do it, because it'll be hard. It'll be the hardest thing you've ever done, but it'll also be the most rewarding thing that you've ever done.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you make it, there's some degree of luck. But if you're disciplined over time, you will always make it. As long as you're constantly making small strides towards where you want to be. And that's really important. Is take a little bit of time. Don't overcommit. Don't put yourself in debt. Make sure that it's making money, or it's at least not losing money, whatever you're doing. And that's really important. And I think for Carolyn, her journey through cancer was difficult. But we're here today, and we can make the best of it what we have, and we have pretty nice things. We have a pretty we have a house, we have a place to sleep, we have a son, we have a business, we have a team that not only supports us, but they believe in what we do. To the point where sometimes if I'm being lazy and I ask them to cut a corner, they'll say no. Which is the best, right? Wow. It's the best thing. Wow. And I know that I can actually not even ask that, because they will look at me and be like, I know you're trying to cheat.
You have shown them what good performance looks like, and now you allow them to hold you accountable.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
Freaking amazing. Yeah. That's freaking amazing.
It's so important, Chris, as you know, that the aspect of the team, we have the experience and we have the know-how and we have the skill set, but
they execute.
Without a team that is on the same page, without that communication, without working side by side, and I will go back to the pre-shift meeting. It's so critical. It's so critical. And some days you're thinking, okay, do I have time to do something impactful? And on those days, you talk about the menu, you taste food together. This is what I'm tasting. What are you tasting? And then on some days, one day a week, you as a leader set the tone in a bigger leadership lesson, and then you talk, and then you go through the entire week. They hear day one, this is what we're going to talk about. Here's an overview. We're going to touch on this every day, whether it's for 2 minutes or 20 minutes, however long we have. And then you want them to contribute, right? Because you want them to feel like they're a part of the success of the team, and some of the examples, I made a little list of things that I've really, really dug into. It's so critical to create the culture of the team. Some kitchens, as you know, in some businesses are just a rodeo, 3-ring circus.
Yeah.
But all of that is just through lack of management and lack of team building. If you take the time, even for 5 minutes a day, to talk about something that's important to you as a leader, then things slowly start to change and people start to understand. So some of the things that I've deep dived with my team, one of the biggest ones is situational awareness, right? Yep. And that's guest facing, that's internal, right? And that's can go from anything to communicating, giving and receiving information with positive intent, right? It's the perception of what's going on around you. It's time management, it's safety, all of those things. It's the tone, your body language, the tone of a guest, how their expression is walking in, what kind of care do they need? Are they in a hurry? Are they frustrated? Are they nervous about talking about pastries? We talk about, I ask them what values they find in a good leader. And then we write them all down, and then we say, okay, this is what all of us are going to work towards. We know that Megan values people anticipating her needs. that's a great leadership quality. We should all be thinking about anticipating the needs of each other, right? Internal and external hospitality, working with integrity, right? That's one that you could talk about for a million years. Team health and wellness, right? What does burnout look like? What does what does it look like when you're struggling communicating? Are you isolating yourself, right? Are you falling into a hole? Like, are we aware of where you are mentally and what your needs are? Is this station too stressful for you? What are your needs? Emotional awareness, conscientiousness, right? Positive intent, right? All of that, the communication. But through giving all of these lessons and doing these deep dives, the one thing that the road always leads back to is just trust, right? It's only trust. If there's no trust, then there's no team. And that's trust in the way you give communication, the way you receive communication, the way you look out for your team, the way you support each other. Somebody accidentally put a 20-pound box of almonds on the top shelf. Are you going to see that and say, no, the boxes go on the bottom so they don't fall and injure somebody? Are you going to have the integrity to move that, to take the extra time and say, you know what, that's not right. I'm going to protect the other people on my team. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to take the initiative to protect my team, right? It could be anything, but it's just all about how we trust each other. And if you lead in a way, like with Alen and I, the trust is implicit. Like I've never felt that Alen didn't completely support me, and hopefully Alen has not ever felt that way. But the team, they have to feel that team to team, not just leader to team,
right?
And not just team to leader. Obviously, we have to trust everybody to follow, the protocols, but teams can so quickly degrade because of poor communication, misunderstandings, not being respectful, and talking about these things consistently every day, laying the expectation, setting the tone. This is how we work. This is how we communicate. This is how we support each other. That's what creates people that are truly able to dig into the craft and not have to worry about all of that outside noise and dealing with drama.
Yeah, you're putting people in positions to win.
Absolutely. We don't let any of that in. No drama, no personal life. I don't want to know where you were last night. We are not talking about that. We're talking about making this beautiful food and providing the best top level service to our guests every single second of the day, beginning to end.
Preach. That's it, guys. Back to that thing that we use here. Discipline is not the killer of enthusiasm. You're doing all the right things. You're showing what good performance looks like. You're communicating with your team. You're giving trust. I'm sure that's handed out based on competence and confidence or something, and letting people do their thing. And every single day, making sure their heads and souls are in a place to do the thing.
Exactly. So, we want professional growth here.
And it all shows up to the customer. All of that shows up that pre-chef shows up to the customer.
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to.
That 20 pounds of almonds not falling on someone's head shows up to the customer. And so that's amazing.
Yeah. We've seen it. We have seen so many places that are just falling apart because there's not somebody explaining how things work and how things run and how a healthy team exists.
Amazing. Well, all of that is good stuff. In the next few years, you need to think about writing a book.
Yeah, she's trying.
You've got enough traction. You've got enough stories to tell. Maybe we'll talk about that separately offline. But you need to have a coffee table book. You really do. You've got a hell of a journey. You guys are so opposite in so many ways, and that has just served you so well because you two have learned and know how to communicate with each other and get through tough times. The biggest thing I want people to see here is that for listeners, conflict is okay. That is a part of nature. Yeah, but there's only conflict if two people care about something. And the most important thing is having a way to work through it, which you guys do, and then support each other no matter what. And I think for so many couples that work together, that's just sometimes it's just a choice. Even when you're mad at each other, I still support you. And you guys have done that. And look at this beautiful life that you've created over now 2 decades of just grinding. The other thing I want you guys out there listening to appreciate is Carolyn and Alen don't expect anything. They just go get it, right? They don't expect it to be easy. They don't expect a handout, and they just chop wood. And that chopping wood has led to, whenever you're in Denver, and even before that, go look at their Instagram page. The art is beautiful, and it is such a rare thing. And I'm so proud that you guys have held it together, built the life that you've built together, and really coming into your own, doing it for yourself versus somebody else. That's the most rewarding thing ever.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we learned a lot with you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. But so how do people get a hold of you? They can either come in the shop in Parker, they can find you on Instagram. Am I listing all the things?
Alen will just give out his personal information.
Alen, do not give out your phone number right now. Do not give out your phone number right now. But seriously, these are the best. You probably don't ship anything because it wouldn't last, right? I mean,
not currently.
Not currently. We have done it a couple of times, so we ship panettone like a couple of times a year. Once we're more stable in our new space, hopefully we'll do it again this holiday season.
Okay.
But for the most part, we're in the black. So for us, I'm just happy to stay where we are and not try to make any more money because
another great lesson. So many young entrepreneurs, they get in these groups or whatever, and it becomes all about revenue. Life ain't all about revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have carved out, I'm the same. I could go do a lot more. I'm very happy where I'm at. And because I'm able to see my kids and my wife and all the things. And so it's okay to find your balance. And that's why People Self Profit Self, it's not, so many of these young entrepreneurs, they get in this grain that it's all just about revenue. We both know people that have a lot of revenue but make no money or have lost their spouse.
Yeah. It's not, I always say, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Thank you all for being on here.
Thank you
Chris,
for having us.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. So great. We're so happy to see you again. I'm
gonna find a way to get to Denver. I was thinking like, all right, man, I gotta find some action in Denver so I can get out there and see y'all. But
we can be the action, Chris. We're happy to be the action.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing.
And just so you know, we really do recall all of the lessons that you taught us.
Many.
All of the cheese moving, all of the chasing it down, all the flexibility and the teamwork and all the lessons that you taught us. It has been so impactful. You've been one of the best mentors to us. So thank you so much.
Who moved my cheese?
So they're referencing the book "Who Moved My Cheese," which is just a legendary book, and we went through it together. We went through it together. But I appreciate y'all, and I'm so proud of you. So
thank you, Chris.
We'll wrap it. Team, if you like this episode, go tell everybody. This is an entrepreneur story right here. Getting in the reps, staying united, getting through tough times, getting punched in the mouth, getting back up again. And it just, people don't fall on top of mountains. You have to climb them. And you guys are climbers. And so, way to go.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time. Guys, stay well coached. See you later. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. I hope something in this conversation sparked a new idea or gave you a little clarity. We'll be back next week to keep digging into what it means to lead well, grow smart, and build something that lasts. Until then, stay well coached.